The foreign desk says civilians were also killed.
Treating the injured, eye surgeon Dr. Elias Jarre.
It's a massacre.
Good morning to those of you watching on the video live stream today on Facebook, YouTube, or X. You can always go back and watch on the video archive. Just go to Facebook or YouTube, your platform of choice, and type in WSJM, and you can see the full list of videos that we have as far as the interviews go. And I want to welcome to the studio this morning Michael Sleep. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you for coming in.
Well, thanks for having me.
Just bring that microphone up.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, close, and personal, and we'll be good to go. We will ask Michael a little bit about himself. He's running for Berrien County Commissioner. Which district is it? Is there a number to it?
Oh,
do I know?
Did it change?
It might have changed because there was redistricting, right?
Yes, I've actually done this before. My friends sometimes push me into doing it, and my district has changed this time. It used to be all of Benton Township. Now it's the little northwest corner of the township and most of the city.
I want to say it's like 4.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
I believe it's 4.
Let's take a look real quick. Yes, it's the 4th district. And the person you're running against, who has got the Democrat nomination, is Mamie Yarbrough, an institution in the area.
Yes, I love me.
So you have your work cut out for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll talk to Michael a little bit about himself, who he is, and why he's decided to run. And if you love Mamie, why are you running?
Well, I love Mamie as a person,
okay.
And I'm sure I probably like some of her votes, but I can't say I'd vote the same way as her all the time.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about that and more coming up after news right here on the WSJM Morning Show. Any questions? Do you want any coffee? You've got coffee.
I do.
What kind of coffee do you have?
We've got a regular Colombian Keurig.
Drip? Is it drip? Oh, it's Keurig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Some sugar and a little cinnamon and cream.
Wow.
I've been putting cinnamon in my coffee now for a few years after I found out from my uncle. My mother used to do that all the time. And
really?
Cinnamon's good health benefit.
Okay. Be careful with that lead stuff.
Yeah.
The reason why are they making cinnamon with lead?
I don't know, but I mean, I'm a frugal, coupon shopper, but I hear it's a lot cheaper and apparently tastes like cinnamon. So I'm a little torn on that.
Yeah, that's true. Is cinnamon is a spice from a bark, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the more inexpensive cinnamons aren't really cinnamon at all. They just taste like it.
Really?
Yeah, it's not even the bark.
That, hopefully.
Yeah, let's hope not. All right, we'll talk more cinnamon and other spices in just a few moments right here on the WSJM Morning Show. Probably not, but we'll talk about stuff.
You could hear it. It was like, boom. It's like you could hear it, and it was like so close. It was shaking. My room was shaking. I was like, what was that? It freaked me out.
Explosion triggered by an SUV going through a fence. Disgraced movie maker Harvey Weinstein pled not guilty to new sex assault charges in New York. The victim says he attacked her in 2006. It's a scam with a scary name, pig butchering. There's a new push from law enforcement for Congress to put new laws into place as losses mount.
The name references the practice of fattening a pig before slaughter. In this case, Americans who can end up losing their life savings. The fraudsters use dating apps or text messages to strike up a relationship with a victim, and after months of building trust, get them to send money or invest in cryptocurrency schemes. $4 billion was lost to pig butchering crypto scams last year alone.
To ABC's Andrew Fujii, there are new calls in Great Britain to make a pint less of a pint. A pint glass in Britain is 20 ounces. It's 16 in the U.S., and health researchers say smaller glasses could help cut back on beer, since drinkers tend to focus on the number of glasses they drink. I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
Not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Bills piling up? Rent due? Need cash help but have bad or no credit? Then you need to go to FastLoansAI.com, where you can get approved for a loan of up to $10,000 regardless of your credit score. FastLoansAI.com is one of the largest lender networks. Their advanced technology can help anyone get up to $10,000. Best part? Money can be in your bank account as fast as the same day. When you need fast cash, go to FastLoansAI.com. That's FastLoansAI.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
It's 7:05. Good morning and welcome to the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. It's 59 degrees and some clouds out in Benton Harbor right now. 60 degrees in St. Joseph, in Dowagiac, 58 in Niles, 57 degrees, and South Haven is also reporting 57 degrees. The forecast for today hasn't changed much, but tomorrow's did. The forecast, that is. Today's forecast does call for partly sunny skies, a high around 87 degrees, southeast winds 5 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, mostly clear, a low only getting down to 60 with southeast winds again, just light. And then tomorrow's forecast, we were at sunny skies. Now we're at partly sunny skies with a 20% chance of isolated showers. So just a slim chance of a shower. We'll see what happens. A high around 86 is still expected tomorrow with south winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Your weekend forecast, Saturday looks like a rain-free day, mostly sunny, high around 87, low around 64. Sunday, partly sunny, 20% chance of showers on Sunday, high around 80 and low around 64. By the time we get to midweek next week, around Wednesday, the high is probably going to be around 70 degrees. So we may be in store for that fall yet. Tigers beat the Kansas City Royals last night 4-2. They are in the playoff hunt. They've got the day off today. Tomorrow they'll be in Baltimore to take on the Orioles. The Tigers are now only a half game behind the Minnesota Twins for the third and final spot in the American League wildcard race. Yes, the Tigers are interesting again. And where can you hear them? Right here on WSJM. Tomorrow's game actually will be pushed over to the coast because we have high school football. But for the rest of the games, because they've got 9 games left in the season to do this, we'll have them right here on WSJM. It's 7:07. Some of the news that we're following in the WSJM newsroom today. Berrien Community Foundation, the area's premier philanthropic organization, held their 72nd annual meeting and celebration last night and awarded $269,000 in grants to nonprofit groups and community members for their work in Southwest Michigan. At the event held at the Mendel Center's Grand Upton Hall at Lake Michigan College, the BCF gave 5 major awards: Alamar Nonprofit Sustainability Grant, Carolyn's Kids, the Stephen E. Upton Love Your Community Grant, Golden Acorn Volunteer Award, and Golden Acorn Excellence Award. President Lisa Cripps Downey said BCF is celebrating a year of exploring innovative solutions to challenges we've experienced and seen right here in Berrien County. If we couldn't go over an obstacle, she said, we figured out how to go under, around, or through it. And our successes and the successes of our nonprofit friends are what we celebrate. BCF leaders also announced 2 new programs, including microloans and an urgent needs scholarship fund. You can read the full article. It's posted at WSJM.com. 2 South Haven firefighters will be honored and remembered at a statewide memorial this Saturday. South Haven Area Emergency Services says Emil Wessling and Stanley Wakehill will have their names added to the memorial wall at the Michigan State Firemen's Association in Roscommon. Wessling served 38 years of firefighting and EMT service, first with the Casco Fire Department and then as a paid on-call lieutenant with Shays. He died in 2010 at the age of 58. Wakehill was part of the fire service for more than 6 decades. He joined the South Haven Fire Department, later Shays, in 1965, was promoted to lieutenant in 1978, and served as chief beginning in 1989 until his retirement in 1993. He died in 2020 at the age of 77. Every year on the 3rd Saturday in September, firefighters from across the state and their families come together to honor the memory of the fallen men and women of the Michigan Fire Service. Shays director Brandon Hinz says honoring Wessling and Wakehill is a small token of our appreciation for their commitment to South Haven. Berrien County Board of Commissioners is reconsidering their meeting schedule. Commissioner Bob Harrison of the County Personnel Committee tells us the body is studying its options after hearing complaints that the board's heavy meeting schedule keeps potential candidates away.
Representatives or individuals involved in both the Republican and Democrat parties have complained to me personally that they have trouble locating people willing to run for the county board because of the weekly schedule, and that the concern is that this eliminates a number of people from being able to do that.
The county board meets on the first 4 Thursdays of each month. Harrison says Berrien County is the only one of Michigan's 83 counties with a commission that meets weekly. Not only does that make it difficult for people who work full-time to serve, he also says it puts a burden on the staff who have to prepare for each meeting. Commissioners will fill out surveys to gauge their thoughts following a discussion today, and then the committee will come back with a recommendation on how often to meet. And a group of Chickaming Township residents has come together to try to preserve 16 acres of pristine property that had been slated for development. Donna DePaulo with Save Lakeside Woods tells us they're talking about property off Lakeside Road between Red Arrow Highway and Warren Woods Road.
It was purchased by a developer who began developing, but the community got involved and said, it's not that we don't like development, this development doesn't fit into the community.
The developer was planning to put in vacation cabins on the site. However, the plans hit a snag when Eagle reviewed them and said wetlands in the Lakeside Woods area were undevelopable, that is. Save Lakeside Woods has since reached a land contract with the owner to acquire the property so that it can be preserved.
It's already been arranged to donate the land to a local land conservancy, Chickaming Open Lands. And they will protect the land. They'll be the guardian of the land. Actually, they'll own the land.
DePaulo said the group is raising $1.3 million to buy the land to make it happen. So far, they've raised $300,000 and counting, and the fundraising push will continue, they say, until the goal is reached. You can learn more about the preservation effort at savelakesideWoods.com. It's 7:11. We've got some sports to talk about with Dave Wolf. That's coming up in just a moment. Also, we have our interview that will start in just a moment with Michael Sleep. He's running for Berrien County Commission. We'll start that interview right now on our video live stream. So if you want to hear that in its entirety right now, you can just jump over to Facebook or YouTube and turn on the video live stream. We've got it going. Cameras are engaged. So we will have that in just a moment right here on WSJM.
Tarek Skubal allowed 3 hits.
They currently meet 4 times a month. They're slated. Okay. Yeah, they're slated to meet 4 times a month. The Berrien County Board of Commissioners. We're on our video live stream. Hello and welcome. Welcome to our video live stream. For those of you who don't know, the Berrien County Commission, the Board of Commissioners, they're scheduled to meet every Thursday of the month, except for when a Thursday is the 5th Thursday. So on 5th Thursdays, they don't meet. But sometimes they don't meet because they don't have, they have conflicts or they have their nothing on the agenda or something along those lines. Something happens and they don't meet. But more times than not, they do meet every Thursday morning. They have their committee of the whole meeting, and then they have their full board meeting. They also have other committee meetings that are happening. But I've talked with Bob Harrison a little bit about the story that we just talked about in the news. And it was astounding to me to know that Michigan, in the whole state of Michigan, Berrien County is the only one that meets every week.
Yeah.
So I'm talking with Michael Sleep here. He's a candidate for the Berrien County Board of Commissioners. Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Are you a morning person? I know the answer to this.
But I'm always trying to challenge myself to do things. So yeah.
Excellent.
This early is it's a challenge.
All right. Well, thank you for meeting the challenge, and just make sure that you've got that microphone up close and personal. Mm-hmm. And why don't we just introduce who Michael Sleep is? Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, and then we can get into the questions about the Berrien County Commission.
Sure. I grew up in St. Joe, originally from Chicago, but grew up in St. Joe, Stevensville, St. Joe Lakeshore Schools. Yeah. And for the last 22 years, I've been living in Benton Harbor after I became an adult and was looking at cost of living. I was like, oh, I like Benton Harbor.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. How did you make your way from Chicago to here?
My parents. I was like 2.
Okay.
But all my family's from Chicago. So my grandparents used to vacation here, had a cabin, and my parents used to come here. And when they had an opportunity, when me and my sister were little, they moved out here. My dad had a small business, Harbor Lights, for many years out there on Napier.
Okay.
And so how I ended up here.
Excellent. And then so you've lived in St. Joe. Did you say Lakeshore as well?
Yeah, I think we came into Stevensville originally, and then to St. Joe.
Okay.
And when I became an adult and moved out, I moved to Benton Harbor.
All right. So tell me where you live in Benton Harbor. What neighborhood?
Sure. Smeagol's neighborhood, I think.
Smeagol's.
I don't think most people know that from the
I do not know that.
Up there on Papa Avenue by Whirlpool.
Okay. Very nice. So tell us a little bit about what you do when you're not running for political office.
Sure. You may have seen me in restaurants over the years. For 20 plus years, I've served and bartended in all the nicest restaurants I could find in the county. I'm a big foodie. I like to eat well, so
Nice.
I'm blessed and spoiled to have been able to probably not afford it my whole life, but eat some of the best food from, and everything from the casino restaurants all the way up to a little breakfast place I helped a friend open in Hager Shores.
Oh,
But
okay.
my um, uh, protege was, or boss was, Kevin Sweeney at the Mansion Grill for many years, who I
Okay.
got to work with, who just passed away.
Oh,
But
sorry.
I got all my good and bad habits from him and the Mansion Grill.
So when you say you work in the food, would you say food industry, hospitality?
Mhm.
What's your role there? Do you cook? Are you a chef? Do you like to cook?
I have never been a chef in a restaurant, but I do
Okay.
love to cook. My parents love it, but I've generally stuck to the front of the house. I always thought it was a little bit better money, and even though I wasn't that outgoing in the
Yeah.
beginning, I've become a little bit more.
Okay.
So yeah, serving, bartending,
Okay. What do you like to cook in your spare time? Like,
everything, but a lot of my parents' old recipes, I suppose. But actually, lately, I've been getting in a lot more meats, a lot of steaks, and I've been trying to eat a little bit more carnivore. I'm always looking at the different, trying to eat healthy.
Yeah.
Actually, I got a mixer for the first time, so I'm making my own
Oh,
breads.
that's exciting.
Hmm.
Is it a KitchenAid?
Yes.
Is it? Okay, good. Kitchen, I mean, local company.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Yeah. I can't say all my appliances are Whirlpool. I can't afford all
Same.
those, but
Yeah. Same. But no, that's great. Any particular bread that you're?
anything homemade. Although, yeah, I made some buns recently, pizza doughs.
Oh man, that
But
sounds good.
Italian bread I like a lot.
Okay. All right. The thing about what I would love to see Whirlpool or any manufacturer introduce are what I see on British Baking, right? They've got the proofing ovens
Hmm.
built in. That makes it so much easier because you got to get the right temperature and the right for everything to rise,
Yes.
to proof or whatever. All right.
Mhm.
Sorry, I digress because you talk about food. I love talking about food. We'll
Yeah.
probably talk about food some more, but let's talk a little bit about what you're doing as far as the political realm is concerned. And so you have filed and you are a candidate on the Republican ticket for the 4th district of the Berrien County Commission. Tell us a little bit about how and why you got involved in that.
Well, I always think it's good to have options. Nobody should run unopposed. And when I saw, of course, Mamie, those are big shoes to fill. But there's always opportunity and chance to, improve, where you live. I'm looking to a point. I feel blessed. I want to give back a little bit. I was just looking at some of the budgets. I mean, we are really blessed to be in Southwest Michigan. I think we have one of the larger budgets in our county than most similar sized counties. I think we have like $150 million budget. So I think it's kind of hard to do poorly in Berrien County in that sense. If you're a politician, I mean, we have a great amount of income, and but I'm also a penny pincher of sorts, so I like to look at things and try to save money. I think we could really become, if we didn't not raise taxes and maybe save money, we could at least spend that and become a really kind of innovative county, and be a place people bring jobs back, people want to move to.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you see? I mean, as you think about Berrien County, you think about some of the issues that we face. What are some of the issues that you're most interested in as far as Berrien County goes? Current state, future state. What issues do you see as needing attention, and how would you like to address those?
Well, I heard you on the radio talking about some of the parking issue
Yep.
at Silver Beach is pretty wild. I don't know how we can't figure that out. I think it's a good idea to look at what are the other communities are doing. Maybe doing a self-pay, stuff like that. Although, considering we have such a great budget, I know a lot of local people complain about the cost of things. I
Yeah.
think we could probably afford to do a cool thing like, give local residents either, a free pass to the park and only charge for, outside people, or maybe a certain number of free visits a year. I know there's parking issues all over in the cities, St. Joe and all that, but as a county issue, I know the Silver Beach is obviously their their domain there.
Yeah, the county park issue, and they piloted, as you probably heard this summer. They piloted the situation because they're trying to work with St. Joseph City to address that parking issue, because when people are having to pay on the way in, traffic gets backed up the hill sometimes on the busiest weekends. And so when they did the pilot program, they tried to make people pay on their way out, and that really backed things up. And I mean, there are a number of different ways that you can probably address that issue, but it seems like they haven't been able to effectively get at it just yet. So, what else?
Let's see. I was actually listening to our Democratic state rep Joey Andrews the other day, and I'm in agreement with him. He's a big fan of this database that they want to put in Benton Township.
Yep. The
I'm not
data
sure
centers. Yeah.
how much of that is on a county level, but it's amazing to me that there's so much pushback for it. Especially considering that they say it's environmental concerns. I think it's kind of wild. They said we don't have the electricity or the water for it. But
Yeah, on the electricity issue, that's an interesting one, and I'm glad you raised that point, because they, in talking with some of the elected officials, they know in this area we've got one and maybe two a restarting nuclear power plant to bring electricity in, and so electricity probably not an issue for our area. But we'll see how that affects, and what that is because at the state level right now, state lawmakers are trying to address a tax credit question on whether or not the equipment, the hardware that has to be put into data centers, if that should be relieved of sales tax, which would be a huge deal for the data centers. But there's a side that says, well, no, we can't do that because it's not going to give us enough revenue, and then secondly, it's going to tax our electric grid, which for Southwest Michigan they probably say would accede, no, that's not going to be an issue, but for the rest of the state.
yeah.
What else?
Hmm.
So you're running as a Republican.
Yes.
Are you a Republican?
I am a paleo conservative. I'm a classical liberal. I'm a libertarian, really. Ron Paul on the Republican side years ago was what really got me interested in politics.
Okay.
I loved his way of going about it. He always talked about the issues, never attacked people. It's always about the ideas. But his kind of idea was that you kind of have to pick one party or the other. It's hard to be an independent, although things are changing. So I try to keep things open minded. Like I said, I agree with some of the things that I see on the Democratic side and the Republican side. But yeah, I'm kind of a fan of the GOP right now.
Yeah. What and as far as choosing to run against Mamie, or choosing to run for the 4th District Commissioner seat, are there particular issues where you see yourself as different? You would vote or act differently than Commissioner Yarborough?
I can't say any particular votes that I'm thinking of off the top of my head, but in general, I would probably I'm big on transparency, and I'm sure she and most people are. But I'm always about asking questions. I'm a generally curious person, so and I think that it would help the community to have people that are more just speaking and addressing and saying what's going on, and informing people, so that politics isn't such a overwhelming topic for people. I know they say you're not supposed to talk about politics or religion anywhere, really.
Sure.
It's definitely not the bar, but I don't think there should be an issue. I think people should be able to get along, and we should be able to discuss things and know what's going on. And a lot of people are turned off by politics.
You said it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and of course, in today's day and age, it gets so heated. But there's it doesn't have to be so heated. I think most people have more in common than we really think we do.
Yeah.
We're not that different, but we all have the same issues. But I'd like to be able to learn about it. I haven't been in politics before. I followed it for a while. I've sort of been like, a cheerleader on the sidelines for most of it. So I'm kind of curious to see what it's all about and help out where I can. But yeah, I'm kind of a more prudent spender of sorts. Although we have a great budget in the county of like 150 million. I was just looking this morning, could be wrong, but I was looking at some of the local other counties. We have a larger budget than Kalamazoo County, and 2 or 3 times the budget of some of our neighboring counties. And I think we should be able to put that to, maybe better use and either save taxpayer money or be able to invest and become a really, competitive and innovative county that will bring people into. We already have a good advantage starting point. We're right on the border of Indiana. We could be bringing people from different states in and stuff. And
yeah, absolutely. And I want to ask you about some of those things that you'd like to see that that money potentially invested in, other than what they currently have that money for. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But one of the things that intrigued me most when you and I first spoke was you said you were running primarily because, correct me if I'm wrong, primarily because you didn't like to see anyone go unchallenged in a race. Tell us more about that.
absolutely. I mean, it is great if she's doing 100% or anybody is doing, a perfect job that nobody would want to vote for anybody else, but there should always be an option. If nothing else, it gives you a gauge to see where the people are at and, what topics are of importance to the people to see which way they want to vote, but yeah, so everybody should throw their hand. I used to say, and I probably still would, although not to criticize anybody who's in office, but I almost think that sometimes we'd be as good or better off if we did elected office like a lottery, and it was everybody had a chance to, or you might get picked, and you might have to.
So make sure you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're talking with Michael Sleep. He's candidate for the 4th District Commission for Berrien County Commission. He is a candidate on the Republican side of the aisle. We'll talk a little bit more with him in just a couple of moments. Right now it's 7:26. We've got ABC News coming up in just a couple of moments. Also, the latest from Bloomberg, talking about a little bit more about that Federal Reserve rate cut. And then later on this morning, we'll be checking in with Dave Wolf. He's got sports, which is really exciting because the Tigers, as they typically have in the last few years anyway, heated up at the end of the season, and they are in the hunt for that wild card, the third and final spot in the wild card. They're going up against the Minnesota Twins for that opportunity. They're racing against them. They're only a half game behind now. We started the week, and they were 2.5 games behind. Are you a Tigers fan?
If they aren't,
because you're from Chicago.
If they're not playing the Cubs.
Oh man, you're a Cubby
over the White Sox.
Oh boy. Okay, we'll take that. That's funny. All right, it's so at some point, I would love to talk to you a little bit about the restaurant industry because you've been in it for what, 2 decades, 20 years?
Yeah,
It's changed a little bit, hasn't it?
it has.
So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. What COVID did. Do you have a position on the tipped wage question?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk about that and more. Sorry to keep you all in suspense, but we've got a couple of things to get to here, and we'll continue this conversation with Michael Sleep right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
Concrete wall, climate controlled, high security, safe home for your data, servers, and more. All under 24-hour supervision. Put business critical data and infrastructure in a physical place where you can touch it. Midwest Data Depot, 574-855-8588 or MidwestDataDepot.com.
The Bloomberg Business Minute on WSJM is brought to you by Sturgis Bank and Trust. Let's grow together. Serving Berrien, Branch, Kalamazoo, St. Joseph, and Van Buren counties. Now with 2 new locations in St. Joseph, downtown, and on Cleveland Avenue. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The Federal Reserve went big on the interest rate cut yesterday, slashing its benchmark rate by 0.5 percentage point. Chair Jay Powell indicated the labor market was solid and policymakers wanted to make sure the economy has a soft landing. Stocks took a wild ride after the Fed cut rates, with Powell cautioning against assuming that large rate cuts would continue. There were moderate losses across the board in the end on Wall Street, but investors today appear to have had a change of heart. Futures look strong, with traders optimistic that the interest rate cut will keep the economy from tipping into a recession. A survey of Bloomberg Terminal subscribers shows 75% expect the U.S. to avoid a technical recession by the end of next year. Now that the Fed has cut its benchmark rate by 0.5 percentage point, borrowing money should get cheaper. That means it may cost less to finance a car, help you with a lower mortgage payment, or a lower credit card rate. But don't be surprised if your high-yield savings account or new certificates of deposit start earning less. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
And good morning. Welcome back to the WSJM Morning Show. It's 59 degrees in Benton Harbor, 60 in St. Joseph, and we've got 57 degrees in South Haven. We've got to look at our local news. That's coming up in just a moment after this from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. 14 Republicans voted with most Democrats to defeat the 6-month temporary funding measure. House Speaker Mike Johnson told Fox News Hannity that while he's disappointed,
I don't think it's going to come to a shutdown. I believe we can get.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
And taking a look at some of the news that we're covering in the WSJM newsroom this morning, the Van Buren County Sheriff's Office reports a serious crash last night just before 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Emergency crews responded to the intersection of Red Arrow Highway and County Road 681 for a 2-car crash. One of the vehicles reportedly rolled over several times, and there were several people injured. That's because there were 9 people in those 2 cars total. Sheriff Daniel Abbott says when officers arrived, one of the victims was receiving CPR from bystanders. First responders continued life-saving measures and transported all the injured for medical care. The initial investigation shows that there was a 2001 Chevy Tracker occupied by 5 teenage females from Hartford that was traveling southbound on County Road 681. The driver of the Tracker failed to stop at a stop sign at Red Arrow Highway and struck a westbound 2012 Ford Focus that was occupied by 4 men from Hartford. The crash caused the Focus to roll over multiple times. People were in each vehicle were not wearing their seatbelts and all sustained injuries in the crash. Again, they were transported for treatment. 2 of the teenage females suffered life-threatening injuries and are listed in critical condition. Both Red Arrow Highway and County Road 681 were closed for about 2.5 hours. The crash is still under investigation. The Berrien County Sheriff's Office reports the recovery of a body of a 69-year-old man from St. Joseph Township. That happened at Silver Beach yesterday afternoon. Just after 4 o'clock, emergency personnel responded to reports of a body in the waters off of the beach. The Sheriff's Office reports the body was retrieved from the water. Rescue efforts were unsuccessful. The person is identified as a 69-year-old male who resided in St. Joseph Township. The identity is not being revealed until the family is notified. At this time, the Sheriff's Office states no criminal or suspicious activity is suspected. The body will be transported to Western Michigan University's medical examiner for an autopsy. And Michigan Senate Republicans have renewed their calls for Democrats to get to work addressing the state's minimum wage law, following a July court ruling that will require tipped restaurant workers to eventually be paid the same minimum wage as other workers. State Senator Eric Nesbitt tells us that Republicans called on Democrats yesterday to ask why they didn't show up for a scheduled session to talk about the issue. We'll talk more about that coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. It's 7:33. This is the WSJM Morning Show. We have a special guest in studio. Michael Sleep is running for Berrien County Commission. We will continue that interview. We've been conducting it on our Facebook and YouTube live stream. You can watch that video interview right now if you click over to that. And we'll continue the interview on our radio airwaves as well just in a few moments. But right now, we've got a look at state news. We'll have sports in just a moment and a whole lot more. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher.
All right. We are continuing our video interview on the live stream with Michael Sleep. He's running for Berrien County Commission. Did you ever think that you'd be running for political office?
No. No, not that many years,
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean,
things happen.
Yeah. What do you, as you think about Berrien County and the economy and the population issues that we face, what do you think Berrien County needs that it doesn't have currently?
We could be a little more innovative.
If it does need anything, you tell me.
I think we're doing pretty great. Although, yes, we, like the rest of Michigan, we are sort of not gaining population.
Right.
We're not the most popular state. We could be a little bit more business friendly, and maybe a little more innovative even.
Yeah.
We definitely could use more jobs. We used to have a lot more manufacturing jobs. We're the auto plant capital here. Even though Detroit makes all the cars, we have so many old businesses. When I look through the history of the county of how many different businesses made parts and were in the automotive industry, and most of that seems to have gone away now, which is unfortunate. But looking forward to having some more manufacturing jobs like this. data center that they want to put in.
Yeah. We'll see if that happens. It's they've been talking about the data center for last couple of years, if not longer. And one of the things, again, as we talked about earlier, is action from the state legislature to see if that happens. In the meantime, Indiana seems to have sucked up a lot of data centers for Amazon, Google, and others. But on a county level, one of the issues that folks have been talking about for some time is the courthouse jail situation. You've got the courthouse and the jail right there co-located, which many would say for security purposes is a great idea. But at the same time, it's on a prime piece of real estate in an arguably tourist town, or at least a town that requires or that gathers a lot of its economic activity off of tourism. And they say it's also outdated and should be rebuilt at some point. That's going to be a costly venture.
Yeah.
So what's your position on whether or not, when, and how should that project proceed?
I have not looked at the numbers specifically, but I would, and of course, my optimism, I would like to think, oh, well, since it's such a valuable piece of real estate, you'd think that might offset a lot of the cost, but and versus the cost of upgrading it and stuff. So, I mean, I really haven't taken a position on that. I'd have to look to see what type of offers there are, and if it's. But like I said, we also have a huge budget in this county, so I don't know. Maybe it is possible, and maybe it would be a good thing.
Yeah, some of the issues they talk about is if you move, let's say, the jail out of that location and rebuild somewhere else in the county, you would be best served probably by co-locating the courts as well, because again, for security purposes, not having to transport prisoners externally from a holding facility to the courts would be beneficial for security. We were talking just a moment ago about some of the issues peripheral to Berrien County, but involve the economy of Berrien County, which is that the state issue on tipped wages. Being that you're in that industry, tell us what your thought and what your feeling is on that.
I was actually a little embarrassed and shocked that I didn't know more about it, considering when I'm learning that this actually passed 6 years ago, but it's only kind of coming to the forefront now, but having to do with the way they were implementing it and then gutting it now with the Supreme Court decision. But I went to a meeting the other day on that. Joey Andrews was holding a meeting, public forum, and he was saying that he was wanted to talk to the people because he was kind of surprised that like 100% of the people he talked to were against this. And that's coming from, not just the business owners, but the employees as well, which I think brings up a good point about, you have, restaurant employees that are making, $2, $3, $4, $5 an hour, less than minimum wage. And they're screaming, no, don't raise our minimum wage, because even they can kind of see how it might affect their overall income. And, they might not have the chance to make as much with tips if people are tipping less. They also understand that their jobs could be in jeopardy if their employer can't afford to keep all those people on, and doubling their labor costs. You see the reports that says that a lot of smaller restaurants would close because they couldn't handle those labor costs, and that's probably the worst thing to do. I mean, if it made it harder for the larger corporate restaurants to work, but we open it up for smaller businesses, that would made it more conducive for them, that would be better. But yeah, I don't think it's a good thing. It sounds like they're going to be finagling it in the State House before it gets implemented a little bit, but who knows how much of that will go through or not. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Now it's in their hands.
Did State Representative Andrews seem swayed by the sentiment that you heard there at Mason Jar?
I give him credit. He after finding out and hearing from everybody that everybody seemed to be against it, he went out and had this public forum, and he was actually recommending, all the local restaurants, if you want to do something in the area, passing around, signature list for all the restaurants, and then they can hand that up to the state, and then maybe people will be doing that throughout the state. I think I read we have like 60,000 at least, server, bartenders, or tipped positions in the state of Michigan. That's a pretty big block of people, and you'd think that their voices should be heard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having eyewitness knowledge in that industry Do you think it should be adjusted?
No, and I'm not a gambler, but I like the idea of knowing that my income is not, you know, so finite and limited. I have the opportunity to work harder, do better, make more money in that sense. And it's directly related between me and the people I'm serving, as opposed to I don't have to impress, the boss so much and try to get a raise or promotion.
Yeah.
Um,
I like that too.
Yeah.
I hate impressing the boss. No,
Yeah.
hey, hold that thought. We'll be right back. We've got to get on the radio here. We're talking with Michael Sleep. He's running for Berrien County Commission.
Projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
Partly to mostly sunny skies today. Afternoon high temperatures inland will hit 87. At the beaches, we're talking low to mid 80s. Still clear tonight. We drop down to 60. And then for Friday, we actually have a chance of rain. A couple of scattered, isolated showers through the day. High temperatures still in the mid 80s. We'll be back to sunshine and 87 on Saturday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
All right, it's the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning, 7:41, and it's 59 degrees in Benton Harbor, some clouds. St. Joe is seeing 60 degrees right now, 58 in Dowagiac. Again, some clouds moving into the area, and as you heard on the forecast, we might see some sprinkles here and there, and if that rain does come to fruition tomorrow, that's when they're forecasting it. Do be careful, because when the dirt and oils and everything else is released up from the roadways initially, it's going to be a little bit slick out there. Yeah, that's what my parents always told me. So I pass it along to you just in case you haven't heard it. You heard the same thing?
That as well.
See, look at that.
The first part of a rain, when it's just a little wet,
right
before it washes the oil off.
Makes it slicker than ice. Anyway, all right, we're talking with Michael Sleep. He is running for Berrien County Commissioner, District 4. And the incumbent in that race is Mamie Yarbrough. She came and joined us on the WSJM Morning Show, and we appreciated that conversation. We reached out to Michael and asked him, hey, we want to be fair. We want to offer you an opportunity to come onto the show as well. You accepted that. Thank you for coming in. I know you're not a morning person, but I appreciate you coming in. It doesn't show. It doesn't show at all. But we've been talking about a whole slew of issues. And I mean, really, to be upfront with people, you're running because you don't like to see anybody unopposed.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've been talking about some of the issues related to Berrien County, but we've also been talking about some of the broader issues, because they do affect cities, municipalities, counties, the full state. And we were talking just a moment ago on the video live stream about the tipped wage issue that's churning in Michigan right now. And essentially what it says, because there was a statewide ballot initiative, and then there was some action by a legislature, and then there was a court case. And this summer, the state Supreme Court overturned what the action of the state legislature was, which said, hey, the state court said, you've got to raise the minimum wage for tipped workers so that it's on par with what everyone else is earning for minimum wage. And removing that removes an opportunity probably for tipped wages to survive like they are today.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you're in that industry. You were at a public meeting recently, and it was at Mason Jar on last Friday night.
Yes.
Held at 5:30 on a Friday night, which is a curious time, with State Representative Joey Andrews. Tell us a little bit more about that meeting.
Well, I thought it was really nice that, he had heard so many comments from the local people in the industry about it, that he decided to have this meeting. And he said he'd never had an issue that was so one-sided that, 100% of the people he talked to were against this. And I think it was surprising to him, especially coming from the employees that were, looking forward to, a pay raise. But I think from the industry, these people know, that's probably not going to be the case. Might make more an hour, but, I think some studies have already come out that said, 40% of people said they might just not tip at all in Michigan, knowing that, or at least reduce the amount of tips they give. And so, it was, I applaud him for, holding the meeting and asking that and giving advice on what to do. Although I do believe it was probably a Democrat initiative initially, and obviously with good intentions, but without checking with the people in the industry. But I do think it brings up a bigger question of, maybe people aren't, it's not about the minimum wage. It's about, your opportunity to grow, like why start at the bottom and be locked in at that, when, obviously not every industry, but has the ability to move up and down in income. But, sales people, I guess it's a type of sales,
Sure.
you're selling drinks, you're selling food and specials.
Yeah.
I love food, so it was easy for me to be enthusiastic about it.
Yeah. And so at the end of the day, do you think was any so the two sides came together to have that meeting at Mason Jar? Do you think anyone's position was changed at the end of that meeting?
No, I think everybody. Well, if anybody, it might have reinforced it to Joey Andrews that he couldn't find anybody who was actually for it. Maybe they should have checked with the industry people before. Although I believe it was a citizen initiative.
Initially, it was, yes, and then the state legislature had an opportunity to adjust, and that's what was overturned. Was the state legislature's
Maybe
act?
it was all the non-restaurant workers that were the citizens that decided we're going to give them a raise, and then we're like, we don't want that raise.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because it's tough. I mean, you think about what the restaurant industries just went through with COVID.
Mhm.
I mean, what was that like as a restaurant employee during that period?
I was just trying to get out of restaurants at that point. I do a little bit of property management and have a little Airbnb. And I was phasing myself out from working at one of the best restaurants in the county with Tim Sizer at Timothy's Restaurant in Union Pier. And a lot of the employees were concerned and scared to come into work, to be honest. So they asked me to come back, and I'm a little crazy in that sense. I wasn't concerned about the COVID, so I went back and was working during COVID. But it was pretty insane, I thought. And Tim did a great job of and all the restaurants I'm sure did of putting up the plexiglass and keeping 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
But it was a little ridiculous, I thought.
Yeah. Getting back to the office that you're running for, Berrien County Commissioner, 4th District, and you're running against incumbent Mamie Yarborough. One of the things that we have on the news this morning is the schedule of how often the Berrien County Commissioners meet. They're currently scheduled to meet every Thursday except for 5th Thursdays of the month. Do you think that's enough? Too much? What do you think of the meeting schedule?
That was one of the things that I thought was nice about the position. I said, oh, there's like 4 meetings a month. I mean, to be honest, I thought, oh, I can keep a full-time job and do this. And it's almost like a give back to the community. But yeah, after what you were saying that we in Berrien County meet more than anybody else in the state, I actually am sad to see that go away. I didn't think 4 meetings a month was too much.
Yeah.
And if we're the leader in the state on that, maybe we could start a trend. Maybe we should be meeting more than once a week if we're controlling a $150 million budget a year in a county. I don't know how much is done meetings that are not public. I don't know. I haven't been a commissioner, but I'm definitely curious and willing to give it a shot. But I figure that's pretty, the bare minimum. That's pretty easy. I could do, as long as they're not at 6 or 7 in the morning.
They might be. No.
I think they do them.
They typically have the committee of the whole meeting, and then they do the full committee meeting with the standing committee meetings in between. I think one of the points that was brought up is basically the amount of work that comes before the Berrien County Commission on a weekly basis taxes the staff in preparation, and basically they have a meeting and then they turn around and do that, and that doesn't leave a lot of time for the other oversight functions of the county. And so I think that's part of the argument as well. But it is true what we're told, that the Berrien County Commission meets more frequently than any other commission in the state of a county. We are talking with Michael Sleep. He is a candidate for Berrien County Commission. He's running in the 4th District. Have you ever held political office?
No, unless
Student
you
body?
consider, I was a precinct delegate a couple times.
Okay.
And actually I was at the county level elevated to represent the county on the state level at the state convention, I think once or twice.
Will you support a Republican straight line ticket this November? Can I ask you that? You don't have to answer if you don't want to.
I lean towards it, but no, I never do straight ticket anything. It seems like always I'll at least go back and forth, especially on local races when I know the people personally.
Yeah.
Of course, people I don't know as much, I might tend to be more, well, they're on this side, maybe I'll vote that, but yeah, definitely low, not 100%. No.
How has the reaction been to you running for this office?
I haven't told anybody, so
we're the first.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Door knocking or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No. I usually do one Facebook post because I have run before. I've had friends that are always telling me, you need to run.
Yeah.
You
Why
should
did they
do
say you need to run?
Sometimes I'm pretty loud.
Are
on
you spouting
Facebook.
off on opinions during work? Is that
I do, yes. Sometimes I do at work. I will
okay?
So yeah, I can be opinionated. So they say you should run. I said, okay, yeah, sure. I'll be give back. Although I guess this is a paid position. Speaking of, working in the city of Benton Harbor for the last few years and talking to a lot of the people there, it was interesting. I don't know how many positions or how many city governments throughout the country are like this, but the commissioners are not paid in Benton Harbor, or is the mayor, which I think is interesting. They're saying it's harder to find. You were saying they want to meet less because it's harder to find good candidates that can keep a full-time job. Well, I hear this job even pays too, unlike the unpaid ones, and they meet, I think, even more than the county does. But no, I kind of like the idea that we're a leader in the state in the number of meetings. At least it kind of shows good faith that we're trying.
Okay. All right.
Doing some work.
We're going to get some final comments from Michael Sleep in just a moment. He's a candidate for for the Berrien County Commission in the 4th District. That's coming up in just a moment during our Moody on the Market update. It's 7:51.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have. Think you could be lower testosterone?
I was just curious.
No. We so I think those are 2 flat screen TVs that are probably first generation flat screen. If you go put your hand above them, it's hotter than a fireplace. But no, but it might burn you eventually. But no, we have a couple of TV stations. One, as you see down below, is the security camera. So that's how I was able to see you come up to the front door this morning. And then the top one, just in case, something breaking news happens that we're not aware of either on a national level or on a state level, we can see that there while I'm on the air. Yeah. And you've been in the studios before. You've been in the station.
Yeah, I took a tour a long time ago, although I don't recall what for.
Okay.
I don't think they let me sit down in the chair.
How is it now that you're
It's
almost
nice.
done with this? This was painless, right?
It was, yes. I was a little concerned when you said there'd be no gotcha questions. That usually I would think, oh, there's gotcha questions.
Yeah, there's no gotcha questions. I mean, I try to be as upfront and transparent. There's no agenda here. We just want to, let the sun shine in on everything that people are talking about.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
What else should we talk about this morning? I'm going to give you an opportunity here in a couple of minutes to ask for people's votes. So whatever you want to get out for that. Berrien County has a lot of parks. They have a very active health district. The sheriff's department is helping out a great deal. We talked about the jail issue just a little bit. The drain commissioner was a very let's say vibrant primary. Anything in the primaries, drain commissioner included, surprise you?
No, I didn't know the other fellow as much. I do know Chris Quatrin, and I thought he was doing a pretty good job, but I didn't actually get too much into looking at both candidates.
Okay. All right. We're 7:54, and the WSJM morning show is going to return, and we'll get closing comments from Michael Sleep. He's running for Berrien County Commissioner, 4th District, in just a moment.
You an estimate of time. Then you just buy blocks of time for that project. Websticks has over 20 years creating and, better yet, fixing thousands of websites. They're excited to be serving Southwest Michigan. Purchase your blocks today by contacting Websticks. Call 269-925-1123 or visit stunningsitesmoreclicks.com today.
Stunning sites, more clicks. Web design from Websticks.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
All right, it's 7:54, And it's time for your Moody on the Market update. And one of the things that we bring you during the Moody on the Market update is interesting people you should know. And that is, I think that's the definition of Michael Sleep here, who's running for Berrien County Commissioner. The Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And before I ask you to give your closing comments here and tell people why they should be voting for you, what's your favorite food? Because you're in the industry, what's your favorite food to eat when you go out? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, when I go out, it's always something that I wouldn't cook at home myself. So I actually like, fish, because I don't hardly dare cook that at home.
It's a tough one. I tell you, there's an art to it.
But I'm a meat and potatoes. I'm pretty simple, but I love Italian food, good lasagna, something like that. But at home, I think most of the time I'm actually making my late mother's breakfast she would make for me, which is poached eggs on toast. A little different though, because I will butter the toast and chop it up into little squares and put the eggs on. Now that I got the little egg.
Wow, now I'm getting hungry.
I can make poached eggs. It's like the meal to have. It's also pretty simple too.
That sounds delicious and healthy because it's poached eggs instead of fried.
Yeah.
That's very good. Michael, tell us a little bit about, basically make your pitch. Why should people vote for you for Berrien County Commissioner?
Well, I wouldn't tell you not to vote for me. Shouldn't you? But you're welcome to vote for me if you're looking for something different. Mamie Arbor is obviously an institution in Benton Harbor and does a fantastic job in some ways. But if you're looking for something different, or if you're looking to for something a little different, I suppose. If you know me, you know me. I'm definitely not as popular as Mamie, and I think elections a lot of times are a popularity contest. But you never know. You might see me around.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No.
That'll do it, huh? All right. Okay. Well, it's certainly been an interesting conversation, and I appreciate you bringing in your views and talking about the different issues. Also, especially bringing in those views about the tipped wage question, because that is one that I think will continue to percolate. Not necessarily a county issue. It does affect people in the county, but we appreciate that. And then your views as well, and getting involved in political
Everybody should run for office
in civic duties.
Once, I think yes.
Yeah,
should be a part of our due diligence as an American. We should at least try.
If by chance you don't win this time, will you run again?
Yeah, possibly. Maybe even try something more. I happen to notice this time around that there was multiple unopposed candidates just in Benton Township alone. So maybe I might try something more in my little neighborhood.
Okay.
I might try that.
We'll keep an eye on it.
Everybody should run for office at least once. And also everybody should work in a restaurant at least once too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I I worked as a dishwasher and I loved that role. That was a lot of fun.
Me too. That is one of the funner ones. It's not the best paying, but it's one of the least stressful.
And it's so good for your complexion.
Yeah.
Because your pores are constantly open from the steam that's flying around. Michael Sleep, he's a candidate for Berrien County Commissioner. We appreciate you coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Listen to all that cash I saved shopping at my local Big Deal store. I know what you're thinking.
All right, Michael, thank you for coming in today. We appreciate you. Was this what you expected?
It was less painful.
Did you think there was going to be a jury of peers pointing at you?
I wasn't sure if you're
playing Pink Floyd in the background.
Mamie in next to me, and
that would have been fun. We should have done that.
I know. Actually,
she's a regular listener to the show.
Oh, so she might be listening. I didn't say anything too bad. I love Mamie. She's wonderful. I see her at different events in town. But
all right. Well, thanks again for coming in. We appreciate you. All right. See you on the live stream. We appreciate you guys coming along today. Have a good morning, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Your hometown community bank. Visit Sturgis.bank.